Well, hello, beautiful and awesome friends. I'm Teresa Lusk, host of the Teresa Lusk Show, and I have with me my awesome friend, Pam Drzewiecki. Hello.
Hi.
I am
So
so
good to be
thrilled to
here.
be joining with you today, Pam. We're going to have a great time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. This is just our week one of 4 weeks of a 30-minute lunchtime power series, really. And Pam is amazing. First of all, you need to go to powerful-purpose.com to get
Mhm.
to know a little bit more about Pam. She's a life and business coach, keynote speaker, and a community builder. And Pam, this is what I know. A lot of people are looking for some direction because they're really trying to get their businesses off the ground. They're trying to feel encouraged when they don't see the fruit of their labor, really. And so you and I partnered and we said, you know what, let's bring a 4 week exciting coaching series. You bring your
Mm.
expertise, I bring mine. And I want to start off by just giving you the opportunity to take, 30 seconds to let us know a little bit about you so that those who are watching and will watch they need to know about you like immediately. What do they need to know about you, Pam?
That I am a survivor myself of many different things in my life. And that's what I love to do. I love to help, especially women, thrive in their
Mhm.
lives. And that is including in their businesses and their lives and whatever is most important to them.
Okay, well, good. Well, there you have it. And Pam, you have done powerful speeches. You've been coaching women for a while. And so I want to talk to you about, I'm going to ask you three different questions that I think would be so very useful for our audience. Those are, again, who are going to watch. And the first thing I want to talk about is just briefly tell us what is your expertise? Because I think it's definitely time management, etc. But and then finding purpose and stuff like that, as you were just saying. But tell us just a little bit about what is one thing that you find, and I'm going to get to some questions in just a bit. But when it comes to purpose, what is the one thing you find that women really struggle with the most?
I think because they are constantly trying to find the answer, and sometimes it's just not right there. And I think what ends up happening is a lot of us are just caught up in our daily activities of
Mhm.
just surviving to get through. So
Mm.
I really believe that stepping off that hamster wheel, as I like to call it,
Yeah.
and just pause a little bit.
I
Pause.
love that.
Mm,
Okay, so I want to ask you some things, and I'm sharing our feed here to my personal page because I think it's so valuable what we're about to talk about. Okay, so you often talk about the importance of finding purpose. How can someone begin to discover what their true purpose is? And I'll tell you, I've heard that question many times, and it's such an important question to be able to pursue your business successfully. So how do you help? What would you say to somebody that's asking, how do I find this purpose?
mm. Well, what I love to do first is just to establish a time that they could pause within their day. I
Mm,
think that's really, really essential and key in finding what that person purpose is pausing. And then while
mm,
you're sitting in that moment of being silent and reflecting, think about your core values.
mm,
How are you living your life? So I would start with that. Like, what are your core values? And a lot of times when I ask that question, women or people don't even know what their core values might be. And
mhm,
I know for me, my core values are faith, freedom, family, integrity, and laughter. Those are
mhm.
my core values. So I would say we would start with that is figuring out what your core values are. What makes you tick?
Mhm. That's
Mm.
good. That's good. Yeah, I actually agree with you. Um, so I think it's important to think about those things because I think we sometimes, Pam, and I think you can second this. we look in just random places looking at other people's lives, and you pegged it. You know, you've got to look at your own values, what moves you, what makes you passionate. I love that. I love that. It's not that hard once you sit and kind of reflect on it. Now, we're both women of faith, so
Yes.
I would say that prayer is so vital in this. How do you incorporate? Do you tell the women that you coach to pray, and that's part of how you get to that discovering point?
Yeah, because there's a lot of discernment when you start understanding, and trying to find what that true purpose is for you.
Mhm.
And having that silent time for prayer or just sitting and listening to what's coming into your heart, is really important in scheduling that foundation, like really building the foundation of your life, because I think that's where the joy comes in when you have the understanding of what your purpose is. So, prayer, meditation, journaling just is really all the things that I start my morning off
Yeah.
with. And I encourage people around me to do the same thing.
That's right. Well, if you just tuned in, you're tuned in with Pam Drzewiecki and Teresa Lusk. We're both business and life coaches. We kind of go through a little bit of a different, our strengths are, we actually can bounce off of each other really well, but
We
yours
do.
is really that finding the purpose. I love media stuff, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But for those of you who are tuning in, don't forget to visit powerful-purpose.com. We're on with the amazing business and life coach, Pam Drzewiecki. And so Pam, what advice do you give someone who feels lost or unsure of what excites them in life? Especially with today, the temperature in our country, everything going on, I think it can
Mhm.
really confuse what we're hearing versus what we're seeing. So, what do you say to somebody who's kind of like, I don't know, I don't feel like I hear much, I feel confused?
Mm. Yeah. So, there's so much comparison going on because of social media and everything around us. We see a lot of things that comes through our feed, and we wonder and wish that maybe we were like that person. And I think one of the biggest things is trying not to compare yourself to others
Mhm,
because we don't know the whole story. So
mhm,
I think that's really something to think about is how are you comparing yourself to people that you don't really know?
mhm,
And maybe I'm a big believer in creating a dream team around you, people that support you and elevate you. So maybe that's what it is, finding your dream team that could help you in times that you're feeling a little lost. I know part
mhm,
of my dream team is, in my case, is my husband. And there's a lot of times that he just says, Pam, you know what? We need to breathe because I am an all in type of person, and sometimes
mhm,
I need to pause. So figuring that out, and don't be discouraged because it
mhm,
really does take time,
mhm,
and having a mentor or a coach to help you through finding that is
mhm,
really an helpful tool that I found over the years. And that's one of the reasons why I became a coach, because I had such an amazing one that
yes.
really opened my eyes to
Yeah.
what else was
Yeah.
out there.
I love
Mm,
what you said when you said you've got to have a dream team. I don't call it that, but I have a team of
mhm,
women that are so encouraged by my own life. Like they feel like I inspire them, but also they inspire me, and
mhm,
they pray for me, they encourage me, and I love that. And I would say, even to add to what you said, Pam, I bet, and I know this for a fact, but just kind of gently throwing it out there for people, you have to be careful with who your dream team is as well, because
yeah,
you don't want somebody who's just trying to be competitive. If something wonderful happens for you, right, that they're just jealous of
mhm,
it or whatever. So,
right.
yeah, so I love that. And I love the what you said about how you're just an all-in girl, and sometimes your husband has to say, "It's time to chill out." Can I just tell you, for anybody who's listening, I would say that that is all of us who are entrepreneurs at
Mhm.
the heart, because we're driven visionaries, always thinking about the next thing, and people want to slow you down sometimes. They're like, "Sit down, take a break." Sometimes I tell people, Pam, I'm grown. I know when to take a break. You know what I mean? Like, I'm grown. I don't need you to tell me to take a break. I'm good. I'm good. So I love
Yes.
how graceful you are about it. So tell me, how do you help women connect their core values with their daily actions? I've got to repeat that question because that question is powerful. How do you help women connect their core values with their daily actions? Because daily is everything. What you do with every minute. One of my prayers is, Pam, I ask the Lord, let me maximize all of my days. I want to maximize them. I don't even just want to live in them. I want to maximize them. So this
Mhm.
question is so essential.
Yeah, it's really really important to understand what you're saying yes to. There's
Mhm.
so many times that we're so quick to say yes because we may be a people pleaser or we like to help people. And when we pause around the yes for a second,
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
we can understand, okay, if I say yes to this, this means I have to say no to this. And that other thing might be filling the core values more. That's where your team comes in because then you're able to maybe hand off something. So I think it's really important with the yes. And then we would, if we were working together, we would go through your actual yeses of every single day. And we
Mhm.
would look at what your schedule looks like. And then from there, we would identify how many tasks are you doing in a day that do not align with your values. And then we take it from there.
Wow, that's so important. Can I tell you most women are extremely guilty of this,
Mhm.
so a lot of people don't know this, but I'm a pastor, and so I have a church, and I see a lot of, and not just that, and just in my whole career and everything that I've done, women are notorious for scheduling their family's needs first and their children's needs. And God forbid that it's a family member that calls or a real close friend or somebody, because they're going to drop every responsible thing that also belongs to them, and they're going to usually put the family and friends and all that first. Tell us about your experience with that. Can you give us some examples of how this transformation actually happens?
Yes, it was interesting. What I was reading, listening to a Bible study this morning, and it reinforced about how we need to put God before people and things, and it's not always the way. And if I think back to a client that I've been working with for quite some time because of a bunch of different things, like I'm almost on like her team. I'm part of her dream team, right? So but when we first started working together, the power of no was very difficult for her. And it happened to be that her husband was raising her boys, was raising the
Mhm.
boys, and she was working like 70, 80 hours a week. And
Wow.
we started analyzing what was going on. And her first task was just walk into the kitchen during dinner time and see what happens.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, everybody was walking around her like she was a ghost because they weren't used to seeing her there,
Oh my.
right? But fast forward, we have worked through not only that, but other things because she owns her own business. So we work through business stuff as well. But I really believe in order to be a good leader of your
Mhm.
life,
Mhm.
of your business and your career, you need to be a good leader of your life first.
Mm. That's good. That's
So
really good.
I that's something that came to mind when I was thinking about it, of a transformation.
That's really good. I think also too, those are wonderful points. Pam, have you found that some of it has to do with the value of their own call that God has put on their lives? Have you found that some of this has to do with the value? Like, do they believe it and do they value it?
Mhm. Yeah, I believe so. I mean, some women are called to be wives. Some women are called to be wives and mothers. Others are called to be a professional juggling both of those as well.
Yes,
And I think both of us have been there,
yes,
and still are there, right? Like we're mothers, we're juggling, we're handling many things. But
yes,
I think spending our time with him in the morning to discern of what the day is going to be really makes a difference in how we end up showing up for that day. And
that's
often it's just for today. What are we going to do just for today
that's right.
to make everything better and
That's
to
right.
align?
That's right. That's good. I think a lot of people can appreciate you clarifying and saying, some women are called to be wives, women are called to be wives and mothers, and some are called for business. And can I tell you, I wrote a book years ago called, it was my very first book actually. It was called Good Enough to Be a Homemaker and CEO. And it was
Mm,
because I had such a passion for business and ministry and not necessarily, um, I took care of my home, but I had such a passion. And a lot of women had only the desire to be wives and homemakers.
mhm,
And it almost made you feel condemned that you even had some desire outside of what you saw every day. And let me tell you something, this desire hasn't left. It's not something that I made up on my own. It is 100% God's, and I just think that we should find peace in that, that if you're called to run a business, etcetera, that you, would take that in profoundly. Pam, you're available right now to take coaching sessions, and can you give me just a quick testimony of what are some things that people have said about working with you? How's it been advantageous for them?
it's interesting. I'll meet with somebody. Just recently, I have this client that has booked. We've had about 4 sessions together, and on the first session afterwards, she's like, "I cannot believe how comfortable it is to work with you, and
Mhm,
the transformation that I'm already starting to see."
mhm,
Because of the perspective you have me looking at things differently.
mhm,
So that's a pretty common response to working with me is the calmness, the awareness. I am a really good listener. I'm actually a professional active listener. And I have I went a certificate in active listening, and
wow,
and it's really interesting because it's not an easy thing to do, right?
right, right,
We're ready to ask the next question.
yeah,
So I think that's one of the biggest things, being an active listener, knowing the right questions to ask, when to
mhm,
ask them, and for the encouragement. And the
that's
little in between, "Rah, you're doing
yeah.
great. How are you today? What's going on?" So, yeah.
Very good. Yes. And where can people find you if they say, you know what, I really think Pam would be a great fit for me? Because coaches, there's many types. Like you and I, we have our different areas, but how can they reach you if they want to set up an appointment with you? And
Yeah,
how do they reach you?
if they go out to my website to powerful-purpose.com, there's a calendar link out there, and they could jump on and just have a virtual coffee with me, and let's just chat and see if it is a good fix, because you're absolutely right, Teresa. There's so many different coaches out there doing different things, but there's a lot of coaches that are doing the same thing. And you really need to look for the coach that you're most comfortable with, because you are sharing intimate details of your business and your life.
That's
So
right.
that's where
That's
they could
right.
reach me. I'm on YouTube and all the social medias, so you could see my stuff there as well. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Pam, for sharing your insight and expertise. I love it. I love hanging with you. You're one of my dream team people, and
Me
I've been
too.
inspired by you. So I appreciate all your expertise and your time that you're investing today on our people.
Oh, thanks, Teresa. This was such an amazing idea for us to come together to offer this.
Yeah,
I just really love this. You are such a professional in
Thank
so many
you.
ways. I mean,
Thank you.
professional on media, so that's why I'm so excited to hear your insights on this about business, because I
Thank
think
you.
it's really, really key to understand the business of media and how it can support your business and awareness, especially in today's world. If you are an online social media type of business person, right?
Mhm.
So just making, so a couple of the things was, and these questions that I we were thinking about, I just thought I can't wait to hear the answers myself for
Mhm.
them. So a little selfish there.
Great. No, that's
Um,
okay.
but when we think about media, what is it that, because I watch your show, and
Thank
I
you.
just find it fascinating how comfortable you make your guests and
Thank you.
asking the questions and getting them to open up. I think it's a true gift, and
Thank you.
I'm sure, and you'll let us know if it's something that you could actually teach somebody even if they're not good on camera, okay?
Yeah.
So, how so what's the best way, somebody leading into that, what's the best way to get somebody comfortable with the idea of utilizing media for their business?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I think number one, we have this subconscious idea that getting on media means performance. We
Mm,
immediately think, "Oh my gosh, I'm here to perform." But the truth is, you're not there to perform. I'm a little extra because this is my passion. Media is my thing. I love every bit of it. But most people who this is not something that comes naturally to them, a lot of times the thought that's in the way is, I've got to perform. I have to look a certain way and talk a certain way. And the truth is that number one, if you're talking about a business and even ministry, because I work with ministries, businesses, and even elected officials, like that's my thing.
mhm.
Clearly, my show is a political show,
Yep.
even candidates, right? So what I teach them, and I've actually had the privilege the past couple of days to work with a couple of people that are running for office right now, working on their campaign ads, and they, just because you're already running something that somebody might deem kind of high level, et cetera, the truth is that it's really about your thought process of it. And what I tell people is, you have a particular connection, story, whatever that people need to hear. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But the truth is, number one, understand we're not performing. You are just
Mhm.
being you. And if you're comfortable with you, all it needs is a little practice, Pam. What that means is, and this is a to-do list that I would personally, if you were in my office and setting up a business meeting with me, I would say, number one, let's first of all, let's play with some of the tools that I have. So number one, I say lighting is everything. As you can see, I have quite a bit of lighting on my face right now, and that helps everything. But if I turn off the lighting, I'm going to be like, oh, that's not going to be the best side of me. So here's the
Mhm.
thing. Tools are everything. So turn on the lighting, take a picture of yourself with a serious face. Whenever I was
Mm.
instructed a while back to take a picture of myself, I know I have a very serious face because I'm very intentional. So people think, so if I'm not careful to soften up that smile, people think I'm mean and rude, and that they think that I'm just kind of intimidating. But the truth is, I love people. The truth is, I just need to learn how to practice these things,
She
practice the
does.
smile. So I would say, use your tools, get your phone out, take a picture of yourself, and then pull out the video and introduce yourself in the video. Just pull out the video, say, my name is Teresa Lusk. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas, blah, blah, blah. For 30 seconds, tell me anything about yourself, and then re-record it until the fear of having to put on a show begins to break. Pam,
Mhm.
honestly, media is very important. Even if you're not a media person, it's very important because people put a name, they put the face to the name and vice versa. I go out to a lot of political events, and I can tell you there are people who don't necessarily follow my page, but they'll tell me, I've seen you before, I've seen your show, I know who you are. And I'm just sitting there going, wow, really?
Mhm.
Great. So that means what? Media is working.
Yes. Yes, I
Media is
love
working.
that. I love that. A while ago, I was in a hotel at a networking event, and I used to write nuggets of every day for the first 3 years of my business. And I walked in and the woman came up to me and said, "You're the nugget lady."
Oh, I
Now,
love it.
but it goes to show, right, that the media, and it wasn't a recorded media, but it was a posting out there. So
Right.
I'm sure it's different, but I just think showing up really makes a difference.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Mm.
And you owe it to your business to do so.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about this, but is getting on video enough to capitalize on the power of media? So I told that little story right there, right? Like capitalizing on
Mhm.
the media. Would that, and also what is your definition of media?
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad you asked that.
I
Great
just thought of
question.
that. Yeah.
Media is anything that puts your face out in public. So if it's a video, so I have a professional studio, I have equipment, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting on a semi-professional equipment because, I had to figure out some things there at the end. But which happens all the time, by the way. So it's okay. You will usually have technology issues. You just have to always have the backup plan. But so the definition of media is anything that puts your face out there and lets people know who you are. So it's a picture, it's a post, it's video, it's anything that gets your face out there. And then what
Mm.
was that other question, honey? I'm sorry, I forgot the
The
second one.
other question was, is getting on video enough to capitalize on the power of media? So we
Yes,
answered that kind of, we came in
yes.
on the back end of that.
Right. And the truth is that capitalizing isn't necessarily always money. Sometimes it's recognition. And if
Mm.
it is money, it'll be money later down the road. But to begin with, you got to see it like a seed. You're planting, you're planting, you're planting, you're planting, you're planting. There's a lot of media that I put out there that may or may not get great views. The other day I was checking something and one of them had great views. Well, the last time I had looked, it didn't. So it's all about being consistent and using it. I've always said, especially I work, I'm in the as a pastor, I'm in the preaching world, and a lot of people say, well, I want to go out there and I want to help people and I want to preach, and they want this certain platform, and I'm like, you've got the greatest platform in the world. It's free social media. Use it. And so
Mm.
capitalizing means doing something over and over and over again until you begin to see the return of your investment.
I love that. In the insurance industry, we would talk about 12 touches, right? Like getting 12 touches before you even start a relationship.
Mm,
So I could see that with you, like developing and being consistent with your shows and showing up the other day, and someone didn't watch your show but they knew who you were. So you're doing all the right things, and that's what you could help, I'm assuming, people that come to work with you. Help them be
yes.
more present in this very
Yes.
noisy world that we have going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'd like to share a story real quick. So yesterday I had 3 people in my office. One of them was a husband and wife. That's one appointment. The other appointment was another woman. And just, in consultations, one of the things I'm really good at is pulling out a story from everybody. So you may just tell me that you sell. I mean, you could just tell me you sell styrofoam cups, and I will make a whole amazing, exciting story out of that. When I had these elected officials, these actually candidates running for office as well, same thing. I mean, I'm sitting here with them and I'm writing their commercial in my head. Like, what are we going to say? And I'm
Mhm.
sitting here writing it. And I'm like, okay, tell me your story. If you tell me your story, I can help you produce something. But this is a great resource because it actually it bleeds into so many other areas. So for instance, you may think it's only for your 30-second commercial for your business, but actually I'm now with the what I'm giving you, you're actually learning how to even write a speech because now you're going to use what I just taught you. And you're going to start even thinking, because when you say one thing to people, Pam, the truth is that their wheels start turning. And that always happens in my office. They don't usually just leave with
Mm.
one thing. They leave with the whole package of things to go, okay, these are my, now that these are going to be the commercials, these are going to be the basis for my media, for my posts, for this, for that, because I pulled out that very unique thing out of people. And I'm saying, let's get you real comfortable saying it out of your mouth, onto paper, and onto camera.
I love that. I love that. I think the camera part is so impactful and so powerful. Um, it ends up being a tool I have people use to videotape themselves to get over the hesitation of doing things, right?
Yes.
Videotape yourself afterwards, how you feel, and then it's a reminder. I just love the work that you're doing on so many levels, and I was just so honored to be able to be introduced to you like many, many, many months ago. And the time that we spend together, like once a week, once every couple of weeks, has been so impactful for my life and my business in how looking at things and how I'm showing up.
That's good.
Um,
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
oh, thank you.
Of
So I
course.
think working with you is really about developing the person's story. And then once you have them develop their story, then the sky is the limit at that point, right? You could
Absolutely.
direct them to wherever their business needs to be going at that particular time.
Yes, because they can use it for business, you can use it for ministry, you can use it for campaigns, for the political world. You can use it for anything because your story is your story. You may
Mhm.
have to adjust a little bit. What I say in the church world, I may not say on the political platform, and vice versa. It's not because I'm hiding everything, it's because not everything belongs to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Walmart doesn't sell every single thing, no matter how large they are. So that's how that works.
Oh, I love that. I love that perspective too. That's really interesting. Walmart sells what they sell, Target sells what they sell. You know,
That's right.
Harbor Freight sells what they sell.
Yeah,
There's like all these different places of showing up. I love
that's
that.
right.
I
Yeah,
really do.
thank you.
Um, I think this collaboration together is going to be so impactful, and excited for the people that are going to be watching this and taking away all of these nuggets of information. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to go to that next level in their
Yeah,
business?
thank you for asking. Yeah, well, they can contact me at my website with it's teresaluskshow.com. Now, clearly that is the greatest emphasis is on the show part. However, I actually have pages there for the speaking and the coaching and some other things. So teresaluskshow.com, that's Teresa without an H. And social media, Teresa Lusk Show, and you can contact me through there. I'm definitely taking clients. We're having a lot of fun. You can actually see some of my work on there where I've here and there some of the things. YouTube as well. YouTube has all of my recordings. Actually, it has a lot of my interviews with elected officials. It's got my commercial snippets, news snippets, etc. So I would love to hear from people and just have fun doing this thing called life and business and everything else.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's what's so powerful, and I think it's so powerful that even if you don't have the faith foundation that we have and filled with the Holy Spirit and everything that makes us so impactful, because the bottom line is life is messy,
Yeah,
and it's not that our lives are perfect, it's just that we're finding joy in our
sure.
lives,
Well,
and that's what we're helping.
I tell people when I go to introduce myself to events or whatever, I'll tell them I am a pastor. So if you need a faith-based perspective, I can offer it, but it's not required. I'm going
Exactly.
to help you regardless. I want to see you succeed. So
Mhm.
Pam, this has really been such a treasure. I love it. I love you. I'm so glad we're doing this together. And I can't wait. I want to invite those of you who are watching today to join us next week, same time, 11:30 a.m. We're going to continue to give you some free nuggets, as Pam calls them, to help you
Mhm.
if you're not ready yet to set up a coaching appointment with either one of us, well, you are ready though to start taking some notes, and then hopefully we can be of service to you. Everybody has something that they can. I've never been with a coach and not advanced greatly in some form or fashion. Never. So I'm
So
excited about
true.
that, Pam. Once again, list your website once again for us so we know how to contact you.
Yes, absolutely. It's powerful dash. Make sure you put the dash in there, purpose.com. And
Mhm.
from that website, you'll be able to reach out, jump on my calendar, and also find me on YouTube. Pam dash powerful dash purpose is my YouTube. And you'll find me there and on pretty much on all the social media outlets.
Perfect. Perfect.
Mm.
Well, and you can find me at teresaluskshow.com. We'll see you here next week, 11:30 a.m. Central and 12:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes,
So
that's
God
fine.
bless you. We love you, and we can't wait to hear your success stories. Pam, thank you so much once again, and we'll see you soon.